As the film begins, it's a rainy night in London, and a scene opens up with a Turkish boy with autism named Ekrem. He makes his way to his uncle's hair salon, which is run by Azim. Once inside, Ekrem locks the door and closes all the shades to the outside world. He then changes the sign from open to closed. This sets the stage for the first encounter between Ekrem and a Russian man called Soyka, which does not end well. Soyka's outing of his presence causes Ekrem to become extremely agitated, and this sets off a chain of events leading to his tragic demise. Azim hands Ekrem a razor blade, which leads to a gruesome ending. Meanwhile, a sickly-looking Russian girl named Tatiana walks into a pharmacy and asks for help. However, the clerk dismisses her, thinking that she is addicted to drugs. Unfortunately, the situation takes a turn when Tatiana begins to bleed profusely while standing in the middle of the store. She collapses moments later and is rushed to the hospital. The doctors perform the surgery, and unfortunately, Tatiana dies, but her baby survives. Medical professionals reveal that she was pregnant all along and had been trying to escape from human traffickers who had been holding her captive. Anna, an English-born Russian nurse, reports the death and takes care of the newborn. After working the night shift, she goes home to live with her caretaker mother, Helen, and her alcoholic and painful uncle, Stepan. The next day, on Christmas, Anna gives her uncle a stolen diary from Tatiana's bag and asks him to translate it because it's in Russian. Uncle Stepan refuses and punishes her for stealing from a dead girl. Nevertheless, the only thing she thinks about is finding someone to take care of the baby. Anna finds a business card for a Trans-Siberian restaurant, flipping through its pages as the only clue. However, she doesn't know that the restaurant is actually run by Semyon, the leader of a Russian gang. We then see Semyon's son, Kirill, and Nikolai, a loyal driver and protector of the family. Anna parks her motorcycle in front of the restaurant. Kirill asks Nikolai to bring his wife and son to the restaurant. While Nikolai is walking away, Anna enters the restaurant, and Semyon warmly welcomes her. All the workers are preparing for a big party in the restaurant. When Semyon notices his beloved grandchildren playing the violin incorrectly, he kindly teaches them how to do it properly by playing a song. Anna hands over the business card she received in Tatiana's memoirs to Semyon and asks where she can find Tatiana's relatives to help her with her child. On the other hand, Semyon denies knowing the girl. He apologizes for not being able to help her in this case. However, when Anna informs him that more information will be found when her memoir is translated, Semyon suggests that she decipher the journal herself and orders her to hand it over to him tomorrow afternoon. Semyon makes sure he knows where he works before leaving. Nikolai enters the restaurant with his wife and Azim and stays outside with his truck, parked right next to Anna's bike. He introduces his bike to Anna and asks if she wants to sell it, but Anna refuses because it belongs to her father and has emotional value to him. Nikolai then invites her for a drink, but she ignores him and hurries away. Later that evening, while Anna is having dinner with her family, Uncle Stefan gets drunk and asks Anna how long she will stay with them. Both women become upset by these comments, which lead Anna to flee and Helen to chase after him. He assures his beloved girl that she can stay as long as she wants. Anna had recently separated from her boyfriend and was living with them for this reason. Meanwhile, at the restaurant, while everyone is having a good time and drinking, Krill receives a phone call after making sure that the coast is clear. He confidently assures me that everything is okay. Nikolai takes Krill to the salon and asks him to wait outside because he doesn't like him. Krill refuses, saying that Nikolai works for him and it's necessary for his job. When they enter, Akram is very happy because he has a ticket for the Chelsea football game. Nikolai sends him away and promises not to talk about their presence. They go towards the freezer where Sveka's body is being kept. Krill claims that Sveka was like a brother to him, but his gaze shows otherwise. Kirill claims Soyka was like a brother to him, but his look indicates otherwise. Kirill hands him the envelope full of cash, explaining that money is a symbol of respect. Nikolai lays the corpse on a table and uses the dryer to defrost it because it is rather stiff. He then urges Azim and Kirill to leave because the task is about to get unpleasant. Nikolai extinguishes his cigarette on his tongue before cutting off all the fingers and teeth from the corpse. Nikolai and Kirill then drive out to the river's edge and drop Soyka's wrapped up body into the water, where it drowns. Stepan, angry, reviews Tatiana's diary and tells Anna to be very careful about it because he discovers phrases like assault, prostitute, and needle. The police found Shivka's body in another place. While the lead investigator examines the body, he realizes that Shivka belonged to a vicious Russian criminal brotherhood called Vori v Zakon, where every part of the body is tattooed while in Russian prison, and each tattoo is significant. The inspector infers from his tattoos that he is a commander who has not bowed to anyone. Moreover, he discovers a message in Shivka's jacket. Anna returns to the restaurant and sees Semyon. She gives him a copy of Tatiana's diary. When the newly born Tatiana grew up enough, She received the original notebook. Semyon claims to be drunk, so tomorrow, when he is sober, he will translate the notebook. He asks her where she lives so he can send her the translation, but she refuses to tell him. As she walks away, Nikolai appears with a very drunk Cyril, who can't stand beside the door. Angry Semyon hits the door on them, and when they finally enter, Cyril falls to the ground and puts his head on Nikolai's shoes. Semyon goes towards his dirty child and kicks him with malice. Nikolai tries to defend himself, but Semyon puts him in his place. Semyon is the head of the Russian Mafia Family Vori v Zakon, which operates under the guise of a reputable company, in this case, a popular restaurant. Nikolai notices Anna trying to start her bike and failing and offers to repair it, but the motorcycle's engine is dead. He suggests she take a limo home since it's raining and Semyon won't allow her to leave if she goes outside. Anna tries her best to learn more about Tatiana while in the car. Meanwhile, Nikolai displays his ignorance due to being only a driver. He asks Nikolai what he wants in exchange for letting him out of the car. In response, Nikolai asks Anna to consider it a Christmas gift. Nikolai and Kirill celebrated in a brothel. Nikolai is indifferent to the young Russian prostitutes, although Kirill is not interested either. When Nikolai rejected his invitation to meet with one of the prostitutes, Kirill, angry, ordered him to do as he said because he was the boss. He also wants to confirm that Nikolai is not gay, according to rumors. Kirill hits him at the entrance as Nikolai follows orders. Nikolai becomes enamored with a dark, likable song whispered by Ukrainian Rusby Kirilenko before he leaves. Nikolai gives him some cash and asks him to live a little more. At the hospital, Anna takes care of a baby named Kristen, and when it is revealed that she has recently lost her own newborn, she becomes sad. Right at that moment, Semyon appears and tells her that he has translated the diary and is worried that the name Kirill has been mentioned several times, including details about some illegal activities in which he had participated. He begs Anna not to reveal the diary to the police. She allows Semyon to take care of Kirill and assures him that he is a good boy who became a little lost after losing his mother at a young age. Stefan is also a former KGB agent who is well acquainted with the criminal underworld of Vori v Zakon. So he's really worried about his nephew's life. Stepan translated and told them all about how Kirill threw Tatiana down the stairs, beat her up, and tried to rape her. But the crazy thing is, it was Semyon who actually raped Tatiana, and he's Christine's father. Anna shared with them about meeting Semyon, and together they decided to give him the diary so that Tatiana's baby would be safe. In the back of the restaurant, Nikolai was working on Anna's motorcycle when Kirill called him over to help unload some old alcohol from a truck. Kirill said he spoke to Semyon and wanted to bring Nikolai deeper into their import-export business. He even offered to promote him as a member of the family. Suddenly, Semyon arrives and smacks Kirill across the face upon discovering that he was responsible for Soika's murder. Impressed with Nikolai's intelligence and tactfulness in handling the situation, Semyon relies on him over his own son. However, he also acknowledges the danger posed by Soika's brothers. Meanwhile, Anna, Helen, and Stepan meet up at a cafe for some coffee. Nikolai unexpectedly joins them and sits at their table. Stepan boasts about his past as a former KGB captain and offers to deal with Semyon. Later, Nikolai demands to see the diary but refuses to reveal Tatiana's address once he has it. When Anna persistently asks for the address, Nikolai warns her that pursuing the matter could ruin her comfortable life. Frustrated, Stepan spits in Nikolai's face. Nikolai calmly indicates that he will kill him by inserting his fingers into his throat. Nikolai goes back to Semyon's restaurant to hand over Tatiana's diary. Semyon is relieved that he has retrieved it, but he is afraid that Stepan has already read the diary and orders Nikolai to kill him in any way he can. It was also revealed that Soika was fired because he propagated allegations about Kirill being gay. Semyon then soaks the diary in vodka before burning it. When Anna gets off work in the following scene, she is approached by Nikolai, who has repaired his motorcycle and also gives her the address of Tatiana's family. He's saying that this isn't a suitable place for a young girl to grow up and is suggesting that Anna take care of Christine herself, he said. The next day, when Akram returned from the Chelsea vs Arsenal match in London, he joined a throng of fans on the street and stopped at a cemetery to urinate on a grave. In broad daylight, two men approached him, one of whom was Soika's brother, and slit Akram's throat. Meanwhile, as Semyon enjoyed the accordion player's rendition of the Russian classic Ochi Chernye at the restaurant, he learned from Azim that Soika's brother had killed Akram. The brother has decided to let him go in exchange for Kirill. His candor stems from the fact that he fears Semyon far more than those Chechens. Semyon is not pleased but asks Azim to inform the brother that he will do as instructed. Later, Nikolai is seen stalking Stepan to his home and following him inside, where it is implied that he murders him. Anna is waiting outside the restaurant later that night when Nikolai and Kirill arrive. Kirill instructs her to leave, and Nikolai is not to see her again. Tatiana was only 14 years old, she says. Kirill, on the other hand, simply ignores her. As Nikolai and Kirill stroll through the kitchen, Kirill drops the bombshell that the cops had raided the brothel looking for Kirilenko. Semyon joins them and sends Kirill away to have a heart-to-heart with Nikolai. Slightly miffed, Kirill retreats to the basement to gulp down some alcohol. Nikolai comes clean to Semyon and reveals that he's the one who killed Stepan. Semyon seems pleased. Later on, Nikolai finds Kirill downstairs and confesses that he's agreed to get his star tattoos with Semyon's help. Kirill hugs him and tells him that it was his idea all along. Later on, a few dudes from the Vori vs. Zakon crew pull up to the restaurant and get welcomed by Semyon. Nikolai's sitting there, just rocking his undies. The homies check out all the ink he got while he was locked up and go over his rap sheet and family history. Nikolai disowns his folks, and then they slide those star tats onto his shoulders and knees. The next day, Azim links up with Nikolai at a steam room to talk about some business. He's like, it's a dope spot to meet because everyone can peep your ink game. They both strip down to towels, and then Azim dips out to hit the bathroom, but really he's just throwing his clothes back on. So, these two thugs roll in, and Azim introduces Nikolai as Kirill because these guys haven't seen his face before. They leave Azim and head straight into the sauna, where Nikolai's chillin'. A brawl kicks off, and Nikolai eventually gets the upper hand, stabbing one guy right through the eye. It gets wilder when Anna scopes out Nikolai in the hospital, looking really messed up. She asks him if he knows where Stepan is and says she'll have to call the cops if he doesn't show up. Nikolai comes clean about being hired by Semyon to take Stepan down, but instead he sent him to freaking Edinburgh and put him up in an inn. Next thing you know, the inspector who found Soika's body shows up and has a private chat with Nikolai. So it turns out that Nikolai is actually a spy for MI5, hired to get into Vori v. Zakon. That note he slipped into Soika's clothes was actually a progress report, and he was the one who tipped off the cops about the brothel to help Kirilenko out. But now, Scotland Yard and the KGB/FSB are upset with Nikolai for going too far with his star tattoo. Nikolai tells them all they have to do is arrest Semyon for assaulting 14-year-old Tatiana and prove he's the father with a blood test. Meanwhile, Kirill is just goofing around with his nephew and blowing up balloons when he sees the cops pull up outside the restaurant on a security camera. He meets up with his dad after the cops leave, and they're both confused and worried about why the cops wanted Semyon's blood sample. So, Anna finishes her work shift and sees Kirill heading off in the elevator with his gym bag. She quickly heads over to the baby ward, and to her surprise, there are flowers instead of a baby. However, when Anna informs him that more information will be found when her memoir is translated, Semyon suggests that she decipher the journal herself and orders her to hand it over to him tomorrow afternoon. Semyon makes sure he knows where he works before leaving. Nikolai enters the restaurant with his wife and Azim and stays outside with his truck, parked right next to Anna's bike. He introduces his bike to Anna and asks if she wants to sell it, but Anna refuses because it belongs to her father and has emotional value to him. Nikolai then invites her for a drink, but she ignores him and hurries away. Later that evening, while Anna is having dinner with her family, Uncle Stefan gets drunk and asks Anna how long she will stay with them. Both women become upset by these comments, which lead Anna to flee and Helen to chase after him. He assures his beloved girl that she can stay as long as she wants. Anna had recently separated from her boyfriend and was living with them for this reason. Meanwhile, at the restaurant, while everyone is having a good time and drinking, Krill receives a phone call after making sure that the coast is clear. He confidently assures me that everything is okay. Nikolai takes Krill to the salon and asks him to wait outside because he doesn't like him. Krill refuses, saying that Nikolai works for him and it's necessary for his job. When they enter, Akram is very happy because he has a ticket for the